Hey there, welcome to another episode of Life Design Plus, where we are mastering the art of living your authentic life. I'm really excited to introduce you to my friend and one of my favorite yoga instructors at my local studio, Trey Anthony. Now, I discovered Trey on Instagram. I think it was because of the yoga studio. He showed up there. I began following him, and I knew him as the Barber Yogi. As I've been able to take some of his classes and have conversations with him afterwards, I've learned a lot about his story, but I wanted to learn more. So he is joining me in this episode to talk about kind of how he got to yoga, what it has meant to him. We talk a lot about the power of movement, and I'm really excited for you to get to know him. This is a great, authentic, and genuine and raw conversation, so I hope you enjoy it. So without any further ado, let's get to this great conversation with Trey Anthony about the power of movement. So I told you beforehand that I was going to start with the first time I reached out to you to have you come on. Because this is probably maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it's been about a year.
I forget how you showed up on Instagram. I think it's because of the hot room. I think the hot room had something that maybe a teaching training you were at, and somehow you popped on my radar. So I started following you, and I sent a DM. I said, hey, man, like, I would love to have you on my podcast. Here's what it's about. And your response back was like, are you trying to sell something? Is this for real? Like, it was not trusting at all, which I totally understood, because there's this random guy out of nowhere asking you to come on a podcast, and it's via social media where our DMs get flooded with junk. Yeah. And I was like, no, man, like, not trying to sell anything. I just got a podcast. I've been following you. I think your story is really interesting from what I can tell, and I would love to learn more. But I'm glad that we're recording today and not a year and a half ago. Yeah. Because I think the conversation today, even though it would have been great back then, the conversation today is going to be so much better for one main reason. It's the growth that you and I have both made over the last year. And I've only got a flavor of what you've done just talking at the studio, but I know what I've done in the last year, even in the last like month. Yeah. So like today's conversation, I think will be even better just because of our experiences. Yeah. So with that, do you remember the DM and the response?
Yeah. Once you say that, I'm like, I do remember that. And it's still like even just recently, my girl was getting on me about that. A lady at another studio, she, wants me to, she's been like on me for a few months, like wanting me to, like come to her studio. She's looking for more diversity, but she wanted to feel organic. But she came and took a class with me recently, and, I'm always open to feedback. So we talked about that. She sent me a message and she's like, hey, I have some things I want you to read over. She was basically giving me some feedback. And initially I was like, what? No, I want to stay myself. You know what I'm saying? I want to stay true to myself, authentic. My girl's like, Trey, just, and I just kind of realized it's just that defense mechanism. And that's something I'm going to continue to work through. And after that, I talked to her and she actually explained, and I was like, oh yeah, I love this. It was more like the right times, like when to share things. Like if I have a new student in the class, who might just be there for yoga, right in the beginning, it might not be the perfect time to like start talking about my story or talking about me. So just, hit them with a book quote, something, and then maybe mid-class or after class, just come back and follow it up. And I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I love this. But when she first brought it to me, I was just kind of like in a position where she probably like, okay, we're just going to leave him where he's at. And just, I just want to stay open and keep growing. And that just made me think about that.
That's the tough thing about growth. We were talking beforehand about some things I'm considering. I mentioned like I want to keep my freedom, and I think that like it's the balance between sometimes growth comes because of the feedback you get from others, but other times that feedback you're getting is maybe it's intentional or unintentional control and not wanting you to grow to be authentic. So it's kind of hard to figure out, okay, when do I take this feedback? When do I do something that someone's asking me to do that maybe I wouldn't have thought of myself, versus when do I stick to what stays true to me? And I think that the answer to that always ends up being kind of like your intuition. Like your gut's going to tell you, okay, this is a good opportunity. Now that I understand more about what she's about, this is a good opportunity, versus, nah, this is forcing me to be inauthentic. And I love that you use that word, because you used it at the studio multiple times. And like, I love when people use that, obviously, because it's an important word to me. Like the tagline to the podcast is mastering the art of living your authentic life. So when anybody else is already thinking about that, I'm like, yes, because I don't think very many people think about, are they living their authentic life? What is my authentic life? So
social media, all of that, you know what I'm saying? And Actually, I read something recently that was saying the frequency of authenticity is like 40 times stronger than love. Like, and I thought about it. I was like, I think this has to be true. You know, just because you know, like you say, with I'm not sure if you ever seen the movie They Clone Tyrone. It's on Netflix, and it's like in the community, and they were just. It made me think about It made me think about Jordan's fish and chicken, honestly. But just it was like a chicken spot, and everybody was like eating the chicken, and it was like real life like clones. Like nobody was really thinking for themselves. It's a real deep movie. It's on Netflix,
I'm gonna check
I
it out.
believe. Yeah, and then since then we haven't really seen too much of Jamie Foxx. Like he might have made a mistake, like he made that movie and disappeared.
Yeah.
But
he got sick somehow. And
yeah. Praying for my guy.
I'll have to check that out. And I'll put that in the show notes. So if anybody out there is interested in, like, I'll make it easy for you guys to find it. So let's we haven't even got into your story. And I think that I don't know very much of it other than what I have observed and, from social media, which I think you are very authentic. So I don't think that like the story I've seen is fake. Yeah. But I want to learn more about it. And also the conversations we've had at the yoga studio. So we don't have to go back to like childhood and all that stuff. I want to get to kind of the comment you made to me last week that you used to be, when I first discovered you, you were a barber just getting into yoga. Yeah. And you told me that you decided that being a barber was no longer a part of authentically who you were, that going into yoga was. I want to go to when you found yoga, and then we'll take that story through. How did you realize being a barber was no longer a part of this next chapter of your life? So how did you find yoga, and kind of where did that come into play?
It was I woke up this morning like talking to my girl like, damn, babe, I'm like this close to going back to the barbershop, cause
really
just need some money, so now it's at that point, like that's why I'm, open, looking for, different opportunities. And it's just a process. And I had to remind myself like, this could be right at the breaking point. Like, don't just give in now. But then at the same time, we need gas, we in America, but,
I want to pause right there because I want to share some thoughts that just popped into my head, and it's aligned. What you just described is something I've written about a lot. So I do think there's times where we get tested by the universe. In my other office, I have an illustration that is a series of lines that are just low, and there's at the bottom of it, it says this is pointless, and it points up. And like 2 small lines later, then it takes off. Yeah. And I think that sometimes the universe tests us of okay, Trey, how bad do you want yoga to be your thing? How committed are you to it? And when we have these moments where we begin to maybe double back, sometimes that's right before the blow up. Yeah. But I do think there are times where we have to listen to those signals. And I think, let's just take going back to the barbershop. I think you could go back to the barbershop and not take away from your yoga. Yeah. Because with the understanding that the barbershop for you right now is a means to an end. Yeah. I got to get paid. Yeah. Like there's only so many hours that I can do at the hot room, and I'm limited there. Going back to the barbershop is not me giving up on yoga. It's me taking a skill and a gift and talent that I have to give me the funds to be able to continue pursuing. And if I had to guess, I think that thought of going back to the barbershop today is not you giving up on yoga. It's a means to get yoga to continue to grow in your life. And I think that the way you do that is just, maintaining your calendar. Don't let the barbershop start taking up your yoga time. Yeah. Just maybe you give up something else you were doing on the side so you can go make a little bit of money cutting hair to allow you to continue to invest in your yoga practice and your trainings and all those things. So for whatever that's worth, I think that there are times where we're giving up too early, but there are other times where it's a realization that, okay, I just need a little bit more time, and this gives me the time versus struggling. And then you do give up because things got too hard. So,
yeah, exactly. The barber yogi,
that's how I knew you at first.
You feel me? Like I'm figuring it out.
Then
the thing with the barbershop though, just to follow up what you were saying, is figuring out booth rent. Because right now booth rent is high. So like 200, 250 a week. So I'm thinking just figuring out a way, even if I can find like a sweet space that may be big enough for me to, cut hair, maybe do one-on-one yoga sessions, it's just time to get creative, and figure it out. But right now, booth rent, they get to a point where it's like, okay, I'm in here. Like I have to be in here all day, every day. and then you look up and you just couldn't hear.
Well, we've got some barbers in this building, so I mean, this suite may not be big enough to do barbershop and like one-on-one yoga trainings, but yeah, I think that's a great idea to put on with it. Yeah. And we'll stay here. Well, if I promise everybody, we'll get to more about how you found yoga and everything, but that this is making me think of the conversation that we had. You also mentioned that you felt like the barbershop wasn't, I won't say it wasn't feeding who you are, but you felt like when you were at the barbershop, you might sometimes be helping people go do things they should be doing. Man, like when you get done to go to the barbershop, what do you want to do? You want to go out, go to the club, and
cheat on your wife.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you said.
I'm like, man, but it's perspective. Perspective beats depression. So I appreciate what you said. It's more just looking at it the right way and understanding. Yoga is, teaching yoga is first, and then just like within the barbershop, it's. I don't want to say like low vibratory, but at some point it's me and a coworker that's just, I don't know, it's something about my energy that just makes me a little uncomfortable. Like I don't know what it is. I'm just, it might be a conversation. You come in to get a haircut and things that me and you were talking about, and at some point it's just like, okay, I need to like do my own thing. I need a suite somewhere by myself, and yeah.
There was a comment I wanted to make that morning that I held back on because I'm trying to get better about being quiet and listening and letting other people have their thoughts. But I've worked on this. I think I have a gift of like knowing when to tell somebody something and also sharing my vision for what I think sometimes people have. And I didn't say it then. So I also wonder if part of your gift is to go to this lower vibrational environment and expose the people that may want to go out and do the wrong things to kind of question their life, go through the thought exercises you've gone through, whether it is they get into yoga or whatever it might be. That's secondary because you're way deeper than just yoga. Like the stuff that you're reading and you're sharing on social media, you're bringing that to people who may never be exposed to that. So maybe part of the purpose or part of the journey for you is to be that person who introduces it to people. It won't be everybody who comes in the barbershop, but there might be one or two guys that come in that are at a point in their life when the right conversation or the right exposure to the right book or whatever it might be changes their trajectory, and it comes because of you. But I personally love the idea of you finding your own spot. So then you're not around that low vibration that might pull you down, because if there's enough low vibration in the numbers of people, it's hard for the high vibration to pull it up. Like one low vibration versus one high vibration is going to win. It's going to cancel it out. But if you're surrounded by a bunch, it's hard. So.
Just to give you an example, I won't name the shop, but the last barbershop that I was in, like the owner, like, bro, why are you? He put a gun out, and it was just us, agreeing to disagree, and mid conversation, I'm like, you know what? I'm good, bro. Like, I'm just like packing up my stuff, and he's like standing over me as I'm, like packing up my stuff. Like, bro. So then I call my girl, like, I'm out of here. Talking to her, I don't know how it escalated, but I'm like, bro, I got on Birkenstocks. Like, I am not a threat. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like, even if you felt like that, bro, we could fight. You know what I'm saying? You could, but why are you going straight to a gun? You know what I'm saying? And I didn't feel like, no, that's what it was. He went in, like, he didn't necessarily grab it and point it at me, but he, like, had his holster on, kind of let me know I got this, and just put on that real, like, tough. I'm like, bro, I got on Birkenstocks. Like, man, like, bro.
Yeah, what can you do? Throw your Birkenstock at him?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, like, you could definitely, like, if you could just take, I got on Birkenstocks. I can't even really, I don't have the traction to really do too much. But and you go like to that, and I was like, man, just whatever. But like you say, it's to the point now where I'm getting the understanding. I think yoga is the perfect choice. But I'm just at this point, like, we have to move. Whether it's biking, walking, you can go rock climbing, hiking, just whatever gets your heart rate up, and just experience it, breathe through it, and it's going to raise that awareness to where, different thoughts, it's connected, movement is connected with your joy, happiness, even like it's the cure for loneliness. You going to move, you leave out, the yoga studio, you in Target talking to strangers, you just, I see your ABC pants, I'm just high-fiving strangers, but if you just getting up, going to work, come home, eat, sleep, drink, you know, and just keep repeating the same cycle. That's what got you ready to just punch a wall or go smoke or, you know, go to the club to find a random female. You know, it's like movement is helping me express my emotions. And that's what I'm beginning to realize. And at the same time, I think that's what's drawing a wedge between like me and my father, you know, some of, you know, the older men in my family, because I am at a place where I'm comfortable to express my emotions. And yeah, they yes, they kind of like side-eyeing me, like, what the hell are you doing? But yeah.
How has that growth been kind of ascending higher than the people that you're around?
Yeah.
Has it been a tough process, and how have you navigated that?
It's a tough process now. Because I was in the military, I had moved away. Like I've been gone from Indy for about 13 years. So to come back, you know, and of course, you know, when I was coming back, I was, you know, excited. You know, we gonna do this, we gonna do that, and I get here and I'm just kind of like, what the, you know, like what's going on? Everybody 13 years older, angry, you know, folks that used to be, you know, kind of riding for each other, not speaking to each other. You know, it's just totally different. So I'm realizing just that time away and just whether it was yoga, I'm still big into TRX.
Okay.
Fitness training, you know, just moving. Cause I was in the military and I hated running. You know, we got a PT test. That's the only time you're gonna see me run, and my scores was never really too high. And I just remember just one day going out to a track just to run. I read something that was talking about like running a mile like within 6 minutes, and it was just saying like how like gritty, you know, or I don't know if that's the right word, but just it's a little grit, you know, because it's more than jogging. If you run a mile within 6 minutes, it's a little you all out, you know, running. So I just wanted to challenge myself. I'm like, let me go like see what my mile time is, and I just remember running. It was like, damn, you know, when you running, like feel like your heart closing, you just can't breathe. I was running, I kind of had that moment like, damn, I'm cool. And I just kept doing it, you know, and I just kind of realized, you know, that practice on the yoga mat and breathing through that, you know, helped. But whatever it is, just go move. I remember I got some feedback from I don't know who it was. It's some feedback from someone at the studio. And I had said something about, it was early morning, you know, I'm like, you know, you could be anywhere right now, but you chose to get up and come into this studio with me at 6 a.m., you know, so we gonna work. You know, I had mentioned something about like Planet Fitness, you know, you could have went there, they got donuts for you. And she just gave me some feedback. Like she didn't like how I spoke about like yoga was the only option, you know, and she said whatever I said kind of pulled her out of practice. So I had thought about it, and I'm like, you know what, like, okay, like I'll find a better way to get my point across. And since then I have realized it's just movement. And at this point, instead of, it's not only yoga is what worked for me, but just whatever you like to do, just get up and move. So, yeah.
I agree on the movement. I'm getting to a point, I don't have very many absolutes that I believe in, like everybody should do this. I do think everybody should live their authentic life, but I feel like you've got to find your own way. But the more I do yoga, the more I believe everybody should do it, because everybody can do it, because you can modify everything. And there's the obvious reasons of like mobility and balance. And as we get older, you know, falling and breaking your hip becomes one of the greatest risks as you get older. And if you have better balance and better strength, that yoga can help you with, like all those things. But I just think from a spirit, mind, body alignment, like yoga is really, really good. The breath work, it ends up like, for me, it took a while, but now yoga for me is more like a meditative state. I'm in there. I'm not thinking about anything else other than trying to focus on my breath. And when thoughts come in, they get pushed back out really quickly. And then the physical component of it, like it's you can make it as hard as you want it to be. But I think yoga is one of the things that everybody should do, because you can. It doesn't take very much. You know, going to a studio might be expensive, but there's free videos on YouTube. There's books you can do. Like there's no right way to do it. I like going to the studio because I like knowing that someone that knows the practice better than I can, they can help me. There's like, I get confidence in that. To go do yoga, even watching a video at home, I don't feel as confident doing. But in the studio with you or somebody else there, it makes me feel better.
Yeah, and it's the community. It's that social connection, you know. And I'm a big fan. Like I say a lot in class, I'm probably going to get it tatted at this point. You know, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists.
Yep.
and it's usually us men that's the oak tree, you know, resisting yoga. And like, I'm right there with you. Like, I do believe like you need to do yoga. Now, whatever your choice is, you know, I'm encouraging you just to move, but yoga, like, you know, come experience it, you know, come breathe. And like you said, just the falling and breaking your hip as you get older, you want to, like, we're all past that point of like stability. Like, you know, a newborn baby has to, you know, when we're younger, we have to like work our neck muscles to hold our head up or strengthen your legs to walk. And that's more like stability. But now I feel like we should be focused on like mobility. And I have a cousin of mine, it's funny, I'm just like slandering Planet Fitness, but he's always in the gym, you know, lifting weights, you know, taking the nice pictures on social media, just, you know, super swole, got to turn his body to, you know, turn his head. But his legs are like, bro, like work your legs, you know.
Oh, you skipping leg day?
just, you know, just legs are tiny, you know. And I'm like, bro, like that's what counts, you know. So I do believe just yoga. It's just that full body movement. You working your joints, you know, improving your flexibility, mobility, and in the end, like you're gonna be grateful, you know, that you did it. But even with that, just the breath and learning to. I remember my first yoga class and kind of having that. And I look around and realize, like, damn, like, okay, so I inhale. You know, first few times I was just muscling my way through and just using, you know, my mobility, you know, just muscling my way through. But at a point, like that shit catches up with you and just learning to use my breath and, not going to censor myself, but even in the bedroom, I was talking to my girl, like she woke up kind of, she had a good night. And I'm like, damn, it took me 30 years, you know, like to learn how to have sex. And it's more of just being present, you know, breathing, you know, next time you there, just check in. I guarantee you, your jaws are tight. Your legs you squeezing every muscle in your body, just trying to kill everything when it's really just relax, breathe, send some breath down there to your nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like it go a long way. You know what I'm saying? And you more present and just trying to kill everything is not what's best for her. And and now I'm like, whoa, like I got to figure out how to like deliver this message. Maybe I'll do a men's all class, but I'm in the studio like, okay, Trey, no. But it's a point that I want to touch on so bad.
If Planet Fitness is going to bother somebody, I think that conversation might bother somebody.
I might, So I'm like, no, don't. But I have to find a way to get that message out because, it's just the breath. It's like the biggest luxury that we have that we don't realize. And it's just simply like breathing. And the more we breathe, the more you come aware. And, you know, I might be the point now where I can, like, feel a hair stand up on my arm. I'm just, like, you know, and it started with just being on my mat.
All that from yoga. So how did you find yoga? How did that become something you wanted to give, given that probably most of the men around you, when you did, weren't doing yoga?
Yeah. So it was a relationship. It's crazy. I'll just keep bringing up women. But it was a relationship. She was, like, deep into it. She like, I'm not doing that shit. Like, I'm cool. And she's like, you know, come, you know, try it. No. Of course, we didn't work out. And then one day I just got up and it was like a sunrise yoga class in an old, like, squeaky building, squeaky floors, brick walls. It's one of those buildings when you walk in, it was an art store downstairs. And then they had like an old squeaky stairwell. You go up, like I say, brick walls. It just had a lot of personality in the building. It was windows, and it was a sunrise class. So we started the class at like 6 a.m. By the time we got to Shavasana, you could feel the sun coming through the window, kind of, you know, hitting you. And I was like, damn, this is cool. So I still remember that first happy baby. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, I'm looking like, oh, hopefully, please, nobody see me doing this. So it took a while for me I was going kind of secretly, just going to the class. And then one day I went back to the barbershop. I was like, man, like, y'all have to come. I've been doing yoga. Same, like, what? Like, bro, like, it's crazy to see where yoga is now versus 6-7 years ago. Your manhood might have got questions for, you know, doing yoga. So, you know, it was kind of like, bro, you doing what? And I just kept like, yo, come try it. No one ever tried it. And that's what made me realize, like, you know what? I think I want to teach this. and I got a certification down in Jacksonville, Florida. And then it was, for me, I got my first yoga vacation. I don't know if you remember the PPP loans. Got my first certification. I want to do my own thing. Blew the whole check opening the studio. Got in there and just kind of realized, like, damn, I'm not really qualified to. I got my cert, but if somebody really came in here, like, I don't really. So it took me a while to accept that. I sold the studio. I was down in Georgia, and it took me about 3 years to just kind of realize, that going into a studio and just to be an employee, wasn't the end all be all. It wasn't necessarily a bad thing. And in that process, that's when I ended up moving back here. I met an instructor at the hot room, Precious. And she was like, hey, come in here, just join the community. And so the hot room is, honestly, I've been certified to teach for about 4 years. But the hot room is the first place that I, went into. And it's crazy because it's the same thing that I'm kind of dealing with now with the Bikram series, because it's like 10,000 words. Everybody in here kind of know the dialogue. They know what I'm supposed to say. So I'm like in my own way as far as teaching Bikram. But when I first got certified with yoga, it took me a while to just feel comfortable learning the sequence, just teaching, period. So the hot room is really like the first studio that I've actually worked at. I've been certified for 3 years, and finally it's like, let me just find the word is partnership. I'm kind of realizing in this lifetime, it's more, whether it's relationship, job, I don't have to just do the, kind of how I grew up, some, just some things that I'm working through, but partnership. So the hot room is, the first partner that, I kind of, with that mindset, went into and just grow.
Was that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together?
Exactly.
And that's one of the things I was telling Morgan beforehand, like thinking about, I've been alone on my own as an advisor for a long time. And I did this thing called Genn Keys, where you enter in your date of birth and your location, and it tells you kind of like stuff about yourself, but basically what you're made up for and what your purpose is. And in it talks about being a part of a team, which I haven't really been a part of a true team, like a big team for a long time. But my whole life prior to working, I was on basketball. I was captain of the team. So like, I'm thinking about like, okay, would I be able to do more work and better work for my clients and other people if I'm a part of a team? So that the partnership thing is kind of things I'm thinking about as well.
It's a big deal.
One of the things from what I can tell at the hot room, one of the things I appreciate as a customer or client of the hot room is that it seems like they give you the space to be you. Like the mornings when you have the vibes and you got the music, you got to do the Kendrick Lamar playlist like twice. Like I love that they didn't censor you from doing that, because that was really cool that you got to do that. And there are people that will like that. Like that's one of the things I realized with authentic living. Like I think today you could go start your own studio and it will do really, really well because you know what you need to know. And yes, your style and what you talk about may not be for everybody, but it will be for some people. And they will want that. And they will come work with Trey because they want to hear what Trey has to say, and they want like the way that Trey leads the classes, which is why I want to try to get to more and more of the Thursday mornings at 7:30 because that's my only chance to get you up here.
One of the things that I like about the hot room, where I've learned, it's a lot of stuff, but one of the things I've learned there, you go in a lot of yoga studios and it's like, like a lot of the esoteric, the spiritual stuff to where somebody religious come in and like, oh, I maybe shouldn't be in here, or it just kind of, with the hot room, it's more just heated fitness. And then they still give the instructor space. Like, there's an instructor there. She might go in there and burn some sage, or, she take it into the more deeper, the mudras, that sometimes can scare people, where at the hot room, it's just heated fitness. And that's what allowed me to realize, like, damn, we don't have to be in here listening to Landrell or some, Indian high frequency music, I don't know if Indian, but just, we don't have to be in here listening to like high frequency music or, I can play rap music, because at this point I'm more so just, it's in 24, bro. You're not coming in here to, do yoga and go sit on a rock and get your energy up through your crown chakra to become, like, I'm just in a space to where I'm understanding the bigger picture, and the work that I'm doing on the yoga mat and breathing is helping me stay connected with my daughter. You know, even though that's a different conversation, there's some things that I'm working through, but I have dad issues, so I'm figuring out how to be what I didn't have. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, a couple years, you know, she a little upset with me, but yoga is allowing me to understand the importance of allowing her to teach me or to learn from her. It's keeping me connected for her. And that work that I used to imagine yoga being, you know, was going to turn me into, you know, a superhero or to reach some, you know, superpowers. My daughter might hit that, or, you know, she might see, you know, what I'm doing on the mat, and she might do yoga, and it's generations of work that we have to do here. And I'm just understanding, like, you don't have to be so serious. Just turn the music on. Let's just breathe. You know, as an instructor, it's my job to keep you connected to the breath, but we don't have to be in here listening to Londrell doing yoga.
I like Londrell, though.
I like young Londrell too, you know, but everybody's not, you know, for instance, you know, like my dad or, you know, some of my cousins, you know, friends and family. I taught a yoga class a few weeks ago at a friend of mine. He has a gym.
I saw that, yeah.
I titled the class Ghetto Yoga, you know, getting higher education to teach others. And we was in there listening to, you know, Boss Man, D-Lo. I kind of met them where they were at. And they was all like, oh, bro, when you teach another class, they left, they felt good. But just, yeah, it don't have to be so serious. And right now, I just want to meet people. Where now there may be some older instructors or some people that's like, you know, it's more about that'll have an issue with it, but I'm, you know, whatever. Like, I'm just wanting to keep people moving and get more people into it, because we doing work for generations, and we got to make sure we setting a good example. And it might be our kids that take it further, or our grandkids. Right now, we just need to move.
I'm telling you, man, I'm making this prediction on the podcast. This is documented. What you just described, the ghetto yoga, like that, I think that's going to be your lane.
Yeah.
That's going to be your way to do what you enjoy the most, which I don't think is a coincidence. Is probably part of your unique gifts and talents that make you versus anybody else. And it allows you to make the greatest impact on other people.
Yeah.
And the key is the awareness of meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
I think I think as you get more experience and more confidence and, you know, other things aligned in your life that allows you to go into those types of things, like that is going to be a part of what you're doing in a significant way.
I need to hurry up and get that trademarked before it's, just getting higher education.
This won't go out for a couple weeks, so go file that paperwork and get it moving.
We got to get that going for sure. But yeah, and it's like just meeting people where they are. I was looking for a nightclub, but I think I might go to the skating rink on the west side, you know, because I think about like the shit we used to do in there. Like, some of them adults need to go to jail. Like, just lock-ins, you know, people in here just dry humping. I just think about the stuff we used to do in the skating rink, and I'm like, who was okay? Like, no. But just like the full turnaround, like, let's go in here again as adults, you know, let's get on the floor and we can do some yoga. I just think that'll be cool. But definitely, we can have fun with it.
So are you noticing that as you introduce people to whether it's the breath or just movement or yoga, like at the class you did, are you noticing more people than you would anticipate being open to it and excited?
Oh, yeah. A couple of my friends, I've been talking to them about yoga for years now. And I remember when it started off, they're like, oh, shit, here he go. You know, but yeah, more and more people are starting up. And the thing is, as a man, one of the things, and it could be for the wrong reasons, but at this point, I don't care. Just, you know, come move, and, you know, shit'll work itself out. But it's not too many, like, the bamboo that bends is stronger than the oak that resists. So what happens is, you know, some of my friends, they coming into the hot room, even my little brother, like, afterwards, he like, bro, so many girls. He kind of looking around like, yo, this is where it's at. Like, and they looking at you like, damn, who's this man coming in here taking care of himself? So it's even working to your benefit as far as, you know, those first dates, you meeting somebody, like, you know, hey, what you into? Like, you know, hey, I hoop, I do this, you know, I play yoga. And she's like, oh, you know, it's gonna help you, you know, just as a man, and just your wife, you know, your partner, your soulmate might be in here, you know, so versus going to the nightclub, you know, and, you know, just sitting on, you know, playing Call of Duty all day. Just come move, you know, take care of yourself. But that social connection element to moving is real. And it's a certain quality, a certain, I don't want to say that making it seem like it's not for everybody, but it's a certain glow that you give off once you get to practicing, and they're stepping into these spaces and they kind of looking around like, yo, I want to be a part of this, so that's helping a little bit too.
I think there's I don't know if it's a universal, but I think I don't know if it's an awakening, but I just think more and more people, I don't know if it was the COVID experience opening people's eyes, but they are waking up to new possibilities and new ideas, which is so what, and I think it is the spiritual side of things, however you want to define it. Like that's one of the things I worry about with my message is spirit is a part of it. And I don't want somebody who, wouldn't choose the universe and would rather have God or whatever it might be like not paying attention because I'm speaking their language. Like I think it applies to everybody in their own unique way. So the spiritual component is however you practice your spirituality, that's the importance. And I just think more people are, whether it's a universal conscious elevating, I don't know what it is, but that's why I'm not surprised that people are open to it once they finally get an experience to it, and not shut off to it. Thinking about back to like your story, realizing at a moment that the barbershop is not it for you, taking away the experience with the barbershop owner, like internally, how were you able to kind of realize that this thing that I'm doing, that I'm good at, that maybe I enjoy some, is not fulfilling me, but this yoga thing is? Like, how did you work through that?
Well, I had to come to, I can't pour from an empty cup. So I had to and it's crazy because the universe has been telling me for so long, just no matter what shop I go to, just something happens. And next thing you know, it's to the point now where mom's like, damn, you going to another shop. Like, I'm, packing up. My mom, like, oh, shit. Like, to where it looked like I'm having an issue, My mom's a Leo, so everything's a joke. Just coming to the realization that I was filling up everybody else's cups. Whether I'm a barber, I'm barber or teaching yoga, I'm serving everybody, not really serving myself. And actually, I took a month off. I don't know if I took a month off from teaching. Took some time away from the barbershop. Well, it was after that situation with the owner happened, so I wasn't at a barbershop. I stepped away from teaching, so for a month, I just wasn't cutting hair, wasn't teaching yoga. And like the first week, bro, I felt so guilty. Like, I just need to do something, And then after about a week, I kind of got settled into it, and I just realized, like I'm good at cutting hair, but everybody comes in with a certain, look. Everybody wants perfection. So I just kind of realized there was even my anxiety was going up when I cut hair. It might be I'm lining you up. I might be on a corner getting your line right, but I'm like, damn, I'm holding my breath for like 1 or 2 minutes, just not breathing, just wanting to be still. I'm kind of close to you, so I'm not trying to be breathing in your face, and I just realized cutting hair was just raising my anxiety, or it wasn't good for my anxiety. And then I kind of realized, going to other, yoga classes that, some instructors may, and nothing's wrong with it, like if that's your thing, but I realized with teaching yoga, I didn't have to like put on or change my voice anyway. I just realized like, damn, I'm actually like just being myself, and just kind of paying attention to some of my reviews after class. And I just realized like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm being myself. I get like some of the same reviews, like, he's so motivating, but at the same time, it feels like a big hug. And I can it may be a little bit of that, because you got Gemini and Sagittarius, but then I have my Virgo rising. So I'm able to walk that fine line of nice, nasty, or I can be a little mean, or if I see somebody slacking, I can call you out, bro, take a bigger step. You can get that front thigh, a little closer. You can get that front thigh parallel to the mat, or then at the same time, I can walk up behind somebody and just put my foot behind theirs and press into the outer edge of your back foot. And I just kind of realized I can really be myself and make an impact on a lot of people. And I think it's some of that Virgo energy that allow me to, I can be a little mean, but at the same time, I can give you a hug and make sure you feel safe. So I realized with yoga, I can just be me.
So how has being you, finding an environment where you can be yourself in the professional world, how has that impacted your life other ways?
Well, it's definitely allowed me to see, like, that's a really good question. How's it allowed me to be myself in other ways?
Or,
Well,
go ahead.
I've realized, like, taking that time off of work, my whole life just resolving around just work. So it's allowed me to just to be myself, to really realize, that I have to, wake up in the morning, if I'm teaching a 6 a.m. class, I can't just, roll out of bed and just run in there, I, get up, take some time for myself, meditate, maybe make some tea. But at the same time, to answer your question, that's one of the things that I'm still like processing or realizing, or going through, because it's just been work, work. And like I enjoy, cutting hair. I enjoy teaching yoga. So, you can probably see it on my Instagram. It's just work. So now, I'm finding time like, okay, I need to, hey babe, let's go to Tampa. I want to go to Africa here soon. Like, let's go to Mexico. Let's just start getting out, doing things. I'm not really into like the nightclub vibe. I got a bedtime now, kind of routine. So it's just still figuring out ways for me to get out and enjoy things, but I don't necessarily have to roll a backwood. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to pour any liquor to, and if that's what you into, it's no pressure. I'm not judging, but I'm just realizing for myself how to get out and have fun without kind of ruining or, kind of fucking it up with bad habits, if that makes sense. So I'm still figuring that out.
I'll be interested to see, because I have a belief that, so much of our time is spent in the professional hours. Like we're working all the time, as you were talking about. I think it impacts other areas of your life in a positive way. If the time you're being in your professional self is who you really are and very much aligned with who you are when you're not in the professional setting. I think so many people have to put on a costume to be somebody that they're not when they're working, that it's exhausting and it's tiring, that if you can find the opportunity to be your true self all the time, it makes life a lot easier.
So much easier.
And sometimes you can be your true self in the environment that you're in, or other times you've got to find that thing. And I also jotted down, I've written about it lately, been talking about it a lot, is I think that we have unique gifts and talents and we have gifts and talents. So gifts and talents would be things that you share with other individuals that kind of make us, replaceable. So for you, hearing your story, I think you're being a barber is your gifts and talents. Not everybody can be a barber, but your clients can go to another barber and probably get a good haircut just as good.
Exactly.
Me being a financial advisor, that's a gift and talent that not everybody has. I share with other financial advisors. There are certain things to like the relationships I have with my clients, but if you pulled me out, I would love to think that I would believe they would miss me, but from the numbers and managing their investments and the planning, somebody else could come in and do it just as good as me, if not maybe better. Your unique gifts and talents, I think, more align in the yoga area and the instructor area. There's ways that you lead a yoga class that even Precious, and I love Precious, she can't do it the way that you do it. So in the right environment, Trey, the yoga instructor, there's nobody in the world that can do what you do the way you do. And I think that for me, this creating content and storytelling, my creativity, those are my unique gifts and talents, because in the right environment, nobody can do it as good as I can. So I think that what's really cool, I can only share what I've learned in my experience and my journey. What I'm hearing you kind of figuring out now is what I have recently figured out over the last few years. And I think you're heading in the right decision or the right direction, which is really exciting to me. So like, what'll be really cool is to come back in a year or two and get like an update and see how much better things are that now and what you're doing and how things have gone. But my thing would be, I'm encouraged for you, because what it sounds like you're learning is what I have personally learned, and it sounds like you're heading in the right direction. And going back to you and your friends being, oh, here he goes about yoga. Like, the reason you're so excited to tell people about it is what it has done for you and how it's helped your life. which is why I'm so excited to help people figure out what you're figuring out,
Yeah.
because I know what it meant to me.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the yoga and the instructor, at least for now, this chapter of your life, like that is where you stand out the most
Yeah.
and are able to have the greatest impact. And it's just
Yeah.
continuing to follow the signs of, okay, how do I do more of this? How do I get to do more of it?
Yeah. First, like, I love Precious too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I call her Sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's things like, you know, like her yin class, you know, I'm beginning to tap into like my heart space and that
Mm-hmm.
softness to where, you know, she kind of set the bar for me on some things that I want to reach too. I'm gonna share something with you that I haven't told anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning to, like, when it first happened, I'm like, yo, like I teach. It was just embarrassing. Let me breathe so I can talk through this. But about 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Atlanta. You know, I had some roommates. You know, I just remember sitting on the couch, and I just woke up with fire department, you know, firefighters standing around me. You know, my roommates looking at me like they just seen a ghost, and I had a seizure. And I'm stressed. It was, you know, Atlanta, just, you know, figuring out life, coming back to the barbershop and that anxiety. And it's crazy now when I look back on it, because, you know, I'm so, like, again, it might be that Virgo, like, just basically I had to be literally like shook
Mm-hmm.
or woke up a little bit. And I remember going to the doctor, and, you know, I'm kind of like, why is this happening to me? You know, I do yoga, you know, I'm a vegan. I'm not anymore. But, you know, I'm, you know, vegan, you know, I'm on social media, I'm living this like perfect lifestyle. So a lot of people, it's like a clear shot, like you doing all that damn yoga, or
Mm-hmm.
it was real embarrassing. So I remember going to the doctor, of course, you know, you have epilepsy here, let's give you this medication. And in my mind, you know, I was at that point, I'm anti, you know, so I'm like, yo, like, I'm not taking this shit. Like, you know, so I'm not epileptic, you know, I was kind of a long time in denial. So I just dive deep into, you know, I'm reading, you know, I'm watching, you know, Dr. CB videos, you know, looking on my diet. I got a few, you know, like, relationships with a few guys that live in different countries. I'm reaching out, all of this secretly, trying to figure out what's going on, how can I fix myself, or how can I help this? And I just went on like a real strict diet, you know, started eating, I cut out, you know, I was eating, like, my mom had me at 14. So, you know, I grew up eating candy. I've been eating fast food my whole life. I'm still learning how to cook. But just eating the wrong food, you know, I just made a lot of changes, start cooking. I'm eating kale salads with just, you know, lime juice, olive oil, and some sea salt as my seasoning, or no dressing, just kale, peppers, mushrooms, salt, olive oil, and key lime, you know, squirted over it. And I'm like, I kind of realized in that process, it's a video on social media. It's a guy like feeding a camel cactus. I just saw this and thought about it the other day, but it was like a cactus ball and then like a couple donuts on there. He gave the camel donut, and this wasn't the video was about, but this is what I noticed. He gave the camel the donut, 1 or 2 bites, slid it down. He gave him the cactus, and he was just chewing and chewing and chewing, like, what's the word, like fully masticating the cactus. But that took me back to when I like got into eating kale salads, and I'm just like, yo, this shit's boring. I'm like chewing. But then I realized, like, that might be one of the issues with my digestion, as far as, you know, not chewing up my food all the way. So, but through all of that and through this process, like, bro, I've been like good for over a year. And it's just going back to, you know, my practice on the mat, you know, yoga, changing my diet. So it's like that has allowed me to, the universe just bringing me back to like what I'm here for. Because I was on a path. I was so headstrong. I have been watching, you know, a bunch of, you know, Dr. Bobby Hemmett videos, you know, like where I was in now, I would have never walked into the hot room to teach yoga. It's more, it's not black enough. You know, I'm kind of, you know, still, I was just in a totally different space. And I really feel like the universe literally just shook me and, you know, woke me up. But I really want to start a YouTube channel, and it's coming because my girl been like, look, just, you don't understand how powerful this is or how many people need to hear this. But just been on a journey of healing myself, you know, and yoga has been a big part of that. Of course, you know, eating the right things, and just, you know, kind of believing in myself, eating the right things, taking care of my health. And that's one of those things. So when it happens, it's, you go on the internet or, you know, you look online and this is incurable, you know, kind of once you hear this is it. And I'm just seeing just the possibilities and really how powerful the breath and breathing is. And it literally like saved my life. And that's one of the things that I want to tap into, because I'm pretty sure it's lots of people that need to hear that. I've never like told anybody that I had a seizure before. I had like 3, honestly, like they were just like coming like once a month. I'm like, yo, what the, it's embarrassing. But yeah, and I've never seen myself. So like when it first happened, I stopped working out. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped cutting hair because I'm scared for this to happen in public. And I wake up, you know, trending on social media for all the wrong reasons. Somebody's just like, oh shit, record it, post it, people laughing. But yeah, I'm at a point now to where I can stand on that, give myself grace, but then at the same time coming back to the authenticity, just me being authentic. You can get a good haircut, good lineup, you know, anywhere, but it's not too many yoga instructors. You know, I got tattoos on my face, gold teeth, and I'm not like going into any space feeling like I have to take, you know, I can be myself, you know, and, you know, any yoga studio that I walk into, the first time, people kind of looking at me like, oh shit, is he about to rap? You know, like what's going on? And I'm at a point now where it's the members in Fishers, you know, like you're not going to come on 29th and Martin Luther King and do yoga with me, you know, or come to my neighborhood. But the fact that I'm in a space to where I'm comfortable enough to go into Carmel and do yoga or go into Fishers and do yoga, it feels a little even like revolutionary in a sense, because I'm getting to show, you know, the members here a side of black men that isn't shown on TV or isn't, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm just realizing, I'm still in the process of realizing how big of a deal this is. And it's just coming back to just being myself, not censoring myself. Yeah, I had a seizure. I don't give a fuck how you think about it. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be somebody out there that needs to see this, hear this. And, you know, they might be the one that really saved the world. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like all of the chosen ones are the people with real important missions in this lifetime or whatever. We all got like a story or something important. So yeah, just to not give yourself grace and keep moving. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I'll tell you now, we can, if you decide later on you want to cut it out, we can edit it out. I hope you don't, because I do think that the story.
I had to, like, talk through didn't want to get emotional on camera, but yeah, like, my bad. I ain't mean to cut you off.
You're good. No, you're good.
But
no, this is a conversation.
I've never shared that with anybody before.
Well, I appreciate it. There's a couple of thoughts that came up, just like things that I have heard. I've heard and read, so it's not my original thought, that like the universe, and it made me think about the barbershops as well. The universe gives us like signs, trying to guide us. Many of us aren't open and aware to them, so we miss them. So the universe has to make them louder and louder to finally get our attention. So with the barbershops, it's kind of like people who go back and continuously date the wrong person over and over and over, and they never learn the lesson until it gets really, really bad. So the barbershop, but then also, like, I wonder if you looked back and reflected on the time leading up, I don't know what time frame, but the time leading up to the first time you had a seizure, like, were there other small signs that you can look back and be, man, like, this was telling me I shouldn't be doing these things, and I just ignored it. So the universe shaking you to wake you up was the seizure. And then the other thing that it made me think about is going back to Precious. Often, I think every class, at some point, she says, you are the medicine. And that, like, maybe we really are the medicine from, like, we don't even need pharmaceuticals, that we can, like, heal ourselves. But, like, a lot of the healing that needs to go on only we can do because it's internal.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was stress that led to the seizures and led to this epilepsy popping up, and you remove that out and clean some other things up. You may never have another seizure because you write things yourself, and our bodies are resilient. So
resilient, you know, and like coming back to her, like you are the medicine. And for me, it was just like epilepsy or epileptic, you know, like I just like that puts you in a box. That's like deflating. Like, you know, you can have, and it was a grand mal seizure, you know, just get to the point to where you just wake up and it's like you kind of confused. But then I can feel like I'm like my tongue is like, as soon as I wake up, you know, I'm like, oh shit, I had another one. And then all of these emotions come up, like I'm just like crying. It's deflating, you know, so just my biggest thing was I'm not epileptic. You know, I've had a few seizures, but this can be, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want to use the word fix, but I can
overcome it.
I can overcome it, you know, for sure. And that was one of the biggest things. And I'm getting more comfortable speaking on that because, like, I mean, I'm not looking to do things like I'm not like, oh, this is gonna help me go viral or, you know, but it's one of those things where I feel like a lot of people need to see, and just me being black, you know, just me being my authentic self and then hearing my message, I think a lot of people would appreciate it. So I'm still building up the confidence to just speak on it.
And even if it's one person who hears it, like that's the whole point of sharing the story. And then the final thought was, you are definitely making a difference up here in Fishers and Carmel when you're teaching, because I guarantee there is at least one person in one of those studios that the next time they're downtown Indy or somewhere and they're walking down the sidewalk and they come, you know, a black man's coming towards them, they're not going to be afraid when they once would have. Yeah. Because you have given them a new example of what a black man can be, regardless of what the stereotype might be. Exactly. And I think that's really, really important. I think it'd be really cool if either you do it on your own, or I don't want to get you in trouble with the hot room, you organize some of us to come down to your neighborhood and do yoga with your friends and people down there. Like, that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, that cool actually sounds like a good idea. I remember we getting better, you know, but at one point it was a lot of people, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with like the whole like BIPOC term. It's black, indigenous, color. It's like, yo, that just call me black. Like at this point it's weird, you know.
I will tell you something. So as a white man with things like that, it is so hard to know, like, how does somebody want to be addressed? Because somebody would want to be addressed something else, and someone else is just, you know, it makes it so hard and like tiptoe around, which makes it even more awkward.
Yeah, exactly. It gets awkward.
We both said awkward at the same time.
So like when I was, like I said, I've been gone for like 13 years. So I come back and I got, you know, a few friends that teach at other studios, you know, or this whole like BIPOC class where it's a studio where they have BIPOC classes every Monday. And I just I'm like, bro, this is creating more segregation. So you show up, like say the class starts at 7, you got the BIPOC classes, you know, I'm just kind of realizing this is causing more like segregation. And then I'm speaking against free yoga because you have to, one of the things I realized in the hot room, even when I was like the interim team lead, or I was, you know, assistant manager downtown, you know, people coming in and I'm just excited wanting them to try it out. I'm like, oh, I'll put you down on my guest pass. It's free. And, you know, and they go in there and they feel the heat and they like, oh, hell no. And they walk out in the middle of class. And I'm like, but if you would have spent $30,
you would have stayed.
You might have stayed, you know. So I kind of realized, you know, like you pay for what you want. But at the same time, what we asking as instructors, I need you to make that investment just to make sure I ain't wasting my damn time, you know, or, you know, it's free class every Monday and Wednesday. So now if I want to do my own thing in a community, people like, it's free over here. So why would I come and spend $20? So I'm like, yo, this is devaluing the practice. So I started to speak against it. But then at the same time, I'm teaching at the hot room. So people seeing me, you know, a bunch of white people in here and, you know, the hot room looks nice. So they like, so a lot of people within the community were a little initial, I won't say upset with me, but a lot of people felt a certain type way because I was teaching at the hot room. So I'm at a space now to where the things are starting to click. People are starting to kind of realize, but a few people within the community were initially a little, like I sold out, or, you know, what's the right term? Like I was, yeah, just like I sold my soul, or I'm just like doing this terrible thing working at the hot room where it's really, we in Indy. You in Indiana, bro. Indianapolis.
Right.
This is, you know what I'm saying? You got to get comfortable being around white people. You know, one thing, Cromwell and Fishers is where the money's at, you know, but yeah, you just got to get out your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Think bigger. You know, if we don't do anything to change it, it's going to remain the same.
Well, I'm glad you didn't let those thoughts keep you from doing it, because what I think, it's good to take that feedback and reflect and say, okay, am I doing something? Did I sell out? But if you know your motivation is for the right reasons and you're doing it from your heart, then like that's the best you can do.
Yeah.
And if somebody else wants to receive it differently, you can't change them.
Yeah.
And that probably means there's something inside of them that they have to work through. It's not a Trey thing.
Yeah.
But so many of us get pulled back away from what we want to do because of what other people think and say, when the reality of it is their feedback is really just reflections of things they're working through and they're projecting it on you. So that's why I try to come back to. Going back to the spirituality thing in my message, like at the end of the day, if I'm trying to help people experience something new and I'm doing it for the right reasons and I'm leading it with my heart, then I can't choose how they receive it, and I have to be at peace with there might be some people that don't like it, and so be it.
It's over. Like it is what it is. And coming back to, you know, Ghetto Yoga, getting higher education to teach others, being, you know, in the studio, you know, at the hot room, it allowed me to, I got certification in Yin Yoga. I didn't have the money to pay for it at the time. They kind of worked with me on that. I got a certification in Bikram Yoga, hot power scope. So I've gotten, it was another one. I got over 3 certifications in this time. It's like damn near $6,000 worth of teacher training. So, you know, but at the same time, it's like I know my ultimate goal, what I want to do. So it's like stepping into this space, being comfortable, being myself, allowing whoever, you know, think what you want. It's allowed me to, within a year, to have this growth. And, you know, I don't have to worry about, you know, I'm teaching a class on Thursday. I don't have to go over social media and try to like market it to get people. I just know I'm teaching Thursday, show up. Oh shit, it's 30 people here. And finding my confidence, finding my voice, you know, really being able to look at the body and tell in time, you know, pull your gut in, you know, pull the pit of your belly in and up, you know, tucking your tailbone, open your chest, pressing to the outer edge of your foot. It's allowing the same realization I had when I opened my own studio. It's like, damn, like I got a certification, but it's a little more to this than I initially thought. So it's allowed me to find my voice, find myself in this space, to now I'm ready to go back within the community, or, you know, to do stuff. And it's one of those things where I can help you really, you know, I can go back into space and really help be myself. You know, you can feel when somebody don't really feel confident, you know, or teaching, you know, yeah. So it's just crazy. Just, you know, hindsight 2020, just looking on everything. And it's like, I'm at a point now where I'm like, you know, whatever, whoever think whatever, but yeah, I am exactly where I need to be. And hopefully through my own, because I'm not walking around sharing this with anybody. I step into spaces and my presence is felt. That's one of the things in a barbershop that makes it a little uncomfortable, because my presence is felt. You know, I'm comfortable being myself. I'm passionate. So it's just hindsight being 2020. I look back on everything like, yeah, like I don't give a fuck what you think. Like I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. And you know, it's a word out there these days, like the sassy, like, you know, any man, you know, anything a man do is a little sassy, but I'm in a space now to where I realize like doing yoga has made me more of a man. I can go anywhere with some 5-inch Lululemon shorts on, Birkenstocks, and you're not gonna get one of those vibes. You know, I'm a man. You know, I'm not painting my fingernails or doing any of that, but you know, I just realized how yoga has made me even more of a man. You know, and that's the thing that I think, you know, is attractive to a lot of women. You know, being in touch with my emotions, and now I am talking to a lot of my friends or family about that. You know, you come back to choosing the same women or the same, you know, you are who you attract. So let's let's raise our vibration. It's okay. Like I'm realizing now, just being able to express your emotions as a man, like, bro, that shit make you irresistible. That's one of the reasons why I was listening to Future last album. And, you know, Future got all these crazy stories with women. But if you listen to his last album, like, he on there, like, singing, you know, he go off the rails sometimes. But if you listen, I'm big on lyrics, you know, every now and then he'll say something or have a bar that's like a gem. And I'm like, that's what it is. That's why he having, you know, everybody look at him like a demon, but he can, you know, he got the pick of the litter all the time because he expressing his emotions. And as a man, like, you can't just numb yourself and feel like you don't feel it, like whatever, because how she gonna feel safe to cry or feel like, you know, if you looking at crying like it's weak as hell, now you got her tapping into her masculine energy. She can't be herself because she afraid to look vulnerable in front of you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
I think that at the end of the day, you're like where you're going and how you're elevating, you're connecting back to like the true self. And I think that the image of men and how we're supposed to be is not the way we were created to be. Like I think there's a balance between masculine and feminine in all of us, and that the reason that people feel your presence and maybe make some of them uncomfortable is because it's not what they are, but there's something that attracts them to want to be that way. They just don't have the confidence to do it. Like you're way ahead of where they are.
Exactly.
I think where I want to kind of go to maybe bring this episode, we'll do more of these in the future because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of awesome conversations.
I got a lot to say.
Yeah, I'm excited.
A lot to say.
And I'm excited to hear how that evolves as you keep on moving forward.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask you, and you mentioned, I just want to see if you were comfortable sharing, like, what is your vision? Like, you said you have a clear vision of where you want to go, what you want to do. Are you willing to share that, or is that something you keep under wraps? Which, if it is, that's perfectly fine.
Well, like I said, I've just kind of realized, you know, to not cap teaching yoga, to not think about the money, you know, because at first, you know, that's not a career. You know, like I'm on my way to the barbershop, like, you know, it's not the most lucrative, but just being myself and just, I've gotten to the point now where I just want to be myself. You know, I'm still finding, you know, we were talking earlier, you know, work and life kind of coexisting. So I just want to travel, you know, whether it's different cities, different countries, teach yoga, be myself, and just continue to grow and evolve, you know, as a man. Going a little off the rails here, something you had just said a second ago. There's a book that I'm reading called He. It's a series. He has he, she. I read She once, but it was a couple. It's one of those books like I like to highlight when I read. And so if I read it, you know, I read it a few years ago. I had the yellow highlighter, you know, and I come back and read it this year with the blue, or you know, this year with the blue highlighter. And it'd be different parts. I'm like, damn, this jump out. So I highlight that as some things that I read and I can understand even more now. So if I'll give you one of my books, you'd be like, bro, I can barely see the words. It's yellow, blue, orange. But it's the book He, it's by Robert A. Johnson. Again, the book is called He, but it's a part where he just talks about, the whole thing is about just mature masculinity. And it talks about, you know, every man has to heal his heart. You have to heal your heart in order to reach mature masculinity. So just looking back on that and understanding like where I'm at now, I've been in the process of healing my heart, you know, and getting in tune with my emotions, and even, you know, kind of looking at my dad and, you know, how he's not moving, you know, it's that inner femininity. I remember like me and my dad got into he called me like, bro, why are you expressing your emotions on social media? He called me all kind of slur words, called me out my name, questioned my sexuality. It was all kind of things. And I'm just kind of listening to him. And my girl came over, she took the phone and just hung up. So I'm sitting there like, damn, I kind of wanted to throw some, you know, like I'm listening to him, but I didn't really get my word in. She's like, he's not ready. So I took a minute and I thought about that. I'm like, you know what, you're right. But I just realized it's coming back to that, just getting in tune with my heart, healing my heart. You know, it started with just moving my body, you know, and doing yoga. And I think that's a space, because it's a woman inside of me and it's a man inside of every woman, that yin and yang, you know, that masculine, feminine. So let me rewind back a second. So when I had that initial conversation with my dad, I remember just being like mad, like I just want my lick back. I'm like, damn, should I go egg his house? Should I go over there and bust his windows? And I thought like, damn, Trey, that you sound like your ex, you know. But then I realized like, damn, this is my heart. That's that feminine energy that I need to just sit here and feel this, and you know, so I'm realizing I need to, you know, I'm still on the path, you know, to healing my heart, you know, but where am I going with this? I'm healing my heart, but I realize, you know, it's a path that, you know, we all have to take on, you know. Kind of lost my train of thought there, but I was making a connection. It was something I wanted to say that I really wanted to get out. We're all on a path to healing our hearts, but so it's a woman inside of me, and it's a man inside of every woman, you know. So we all out here, we forced to work, you know. It's like a war on femininity almost, you know. Like if, you know, women, you know, a lot of women, you know, working, paying bills, you know, everybody's in their man bag, and just realizing, I kind of lost my train of thought, but just realizing, you know what I mean? Like we all have to work on that inner femininity, and it's okay, you know, and, you know, it's a lot of men wearing that femininity, and I'm not judging, you know, to each his own, but it's a lot of men wearing that femininity outward, or it's kind of being exploited in a sense. And I just realized how yoga has made me more of a man, and I'm getting in tune with my emotions. And again, the book is called He. It's a series. He has he, she, we, and ecstasy. I think it's another one, but those are 4 that I have. It might be one more. It might be a 5-book series, but the 4. And I'm going to go back and read She. Once I finish with He, I've been like, it's so powerful. I have to read like one chapter, and I'm like, well, it might like kind of like bring me to tears as I reflect back and think about different situations. I'm like, yo, this shit is 100% accurate. And it's, it's that the one woman, I believe, the one woman that the Bible is like, there's one woman for, you know, that's your heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we got to get in tune with our heart in order to really become real men. You know what I'm saying? I believe that, like, 100%.
I'll link to those books too, because I'm sure you pique some people's interest. I want to end with like painting a vision of a possibility. So you mentioned, you know, doing your yoga, bringing it to new, like exposing people to it, helping them to heal their hearts and kind of go on the journey you've gone on. Like, how cool would it be if there's a scenario where you get your YouTube channel going and you're creating content there to help people? Also, like, creating your content is going to help you as well. Like, that's one of the things I've realized is, like, especially with my writing, it helps me process my own thoughts and grow, and then it hopefully inspires other people. But you're creating content, sharing these great thoughts that people need to know about because you do have a presence. And I think that your authenticity is what brought me to, like, attracted me to learning more about you, was that, like you mentioned earlier, authenticity resonates higher than even love. So they're like, seeing that you were an authentic person pulled me in to say, I want to learn more about this guy, not knowing that it was the authenticity aspect of it. But you're growing this audience because you're helping them figure things out to the point where now you can go do the travel you want to do, and you can do your pop-up ghetto yoga sessions, and they're selling out. People are coming to do that. And now you're turning all of your travels into little work trips. And even though you may not think that yoga can be the income that you might need, there's scenarios. There's a life out there where it does. But I think that life where yoga can provide for you the way that you want it to and more, it's all going to be tied to your authenticity. But I think it'd be really cool that you're doing the traveling you want to do. You can still do the hot room, you do your travel, and then when you do your travel, you advertise in advance. The pop-up, you find a location and you sell those things out. You're creating community in these other little cities, and like from there, it just grows.
It grows, cool. And that's a that helps the vision. You know what I'm saying? Come a little clearer, because like I say, I'm just figuring some things out in real time, and yeah, I think that's ultimately what, like, I want to do, and I feel like that's what I'm here to do, honestly.
Well, do you have any closing thoughts? You gave us a lot of great stuff, so I don't know if you need to tie it up, but anything you want to say to kind of bring the conversation to an end?
It was something that I lost my train of thought, and it was like something that I really wanted to say. I'm gonna leave here and be like, that's that's gonna be in episode 2.
So episode 2, or jot it down. And I've got a group of people. We're coming to do a session with you beginning of August. We can do. Morgan will be there recording it, so we can do it. Hey, this was the thing Trey was thinking about. It came to him. We can bring it in later, so it'll come to you.
But just I like to closing thoughts. There is. Just move, the joy I come back to, just the joy of movement, moving your body. I say a lot of times in the classes, I hope the work that you're doing on the mat causes, pain and suffering, because it's those tough situations that set us up for success, allow us to refine our character. I do believe moving is the cure to loneliness. So just to close everything out, just move your body. You can get up and you can walk. What did Martin Luther King say? If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, just keep moving. And just whatever you're doing, just keep moving your body. Give yourself grace. If you do get into yoga, it's not about Lululemon or a certain aesthetic or looking a particular way. It's just, you might have to do each pose like over 10,000 times before you really perfect it. So it's not about looking perfect. It's more about how you feel. And I'd rather be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war. You feel me? So that's it.
That's some good closing words. I appreciate it. Well, thank you for joining me today and being my first in-studio guest. And looking forward to more combos in the future, and then also to the session in a few weeks. So
we might I might be like, hey bro, we gotta we can borrow the art for like an hour. We got a show, like you in. But man, thank you for allowing me to step into here to see it. Trusting, just the fact that my story is good enough content to be the first, or even just seeing the possibility to speak with me and how that could go. That's helping me to honestly just to believe in myself and just to keep going and to keep sharing, keep talking, and look up and be like, hey, I'm in Cincinnati, teaching a ghetto yoga class in Cincinnati. I got a van. Let's go down to Cincinnati and get some content and just put it together. So again, bro, thank you, and I'm ready to do it again whenever you let me know.
Sounds good.